Tracy Lewis from Stuffin' Things. We're still in Eastern Washington, though the smoke was so bad we had to move closer to the mountain range, so that left me a 2-hour drive to go get my paper pumpkin, which arrived today. So here it is. Oh, and look at this, we're at milepost 39, and we have an oil train, all at the same time. So stay tuned for Paper Pumpkin. Alright, I'm finally back. We had a lovely afternoon drive. Highway 2 had a lot of traffic going through Monroe, so we took the back roads, which I haven't been on for a couple of years, and it was very nice. The farmland going through Snohomish is really very cool to see. I haven't even seen anything about this month's Paper Pumpkin. As always, I try to avoid it so that it's a surprise for me as well as anybody watching. So Blissful Blooms is what this one's called. And then next month is going to be a special edition, something spooky. And if you subscribe by September 10th, you can get the Halloween edition. It will come in special colored packaging. So we have You Make Me So Happy, The Loss is Immeasurable, but so is the Love Left Behind. Congratulations, thank you, thinking of you. And it looks like there's a flower and some different flower parts. And this month's spot is Blackberry Bliss, sorry. I do have up on my website at stuffinthings.com that I actually wrote down up here so that you can see it. I do have, thanks to the Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook, every spot from the start of what I call Paper Pumpkin time. So if for any reason you need to look that up, just go to my website, and I have a new menu item called Stampin' Up Tools. I also have on there, I have entered every sentiment from the back of the catalog. I believe it's page 234 to 239 has a greetings list, and there are more stamp sets that have sentiments, and I'm working on entering those, but I did get the ones from what Stampin' Up feels are their greetings loaded up first. So let's see what this month's Paper Pumpkin has. We have the pink and silver baker's twine, full-size dimensionals. Ooh, fancy envelopes, very pretty, with silver edge trim. Oh, and speckles on the inside. I think these are the fanciest envelopes yet. They, right when I think I have seen it all, they then outdo themselves yet again. Alright, and then I see card bases. I know that always on the very back are the instructions, which are here. And this looks like a green vellum. Oh, I've never seen green vellum with various size leaves. Two sheets, and then, oops, they're connected. Two sheets, nope, one sheet of white vellum. So, let's check out what we've got here. I see some adhesive. I see, counting to be sure, 5 card bases of this watercolor style. Then we have some pretty silver labels, and it looks like 5 of a different style of watercolor. And the colors, just to see what we've got here. Coordinating colors: Blackberry Bliss, Flirty Flamingo, Lemon Lime Twist, and Old Olive. I will get organized and come back to do the create so I can get on to the alternatives, which are, of course, my funnest part of Paper Pumpkin. So stay tuned. Alright, so normally I go ahead and stamp in advance to save time, but I wanted to make one point here while I'm doing my stamping. When you have these labels that come that are silver or gold foil trimmed, and you don't get to have a mistake on the front and just flip it over and do it again, because then you lose the silver, I do want to recommend that a Stamparatus is an awesome tool to make sure that you don't make mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it today. I already put my large label on. I just had to do a sympathy card, so I'm going to make a sympathy card to have as a backup. It's not that you need them all the time, but I didn't have one ready to go, so I went ahead and put my magnet. This magnet actually broke, and I went ahead and repaired it by just using some washi tape, and that has worked well for me. The nice thing about the Stamparatus is the main purpose is if you ink up and you don't get a good stamped image, you can stamp it as many times as you need until you're satisfied with your image. So along the bottom there, left behind, didn't stamp dark enough. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more. Make sure I push hard on the bottom word. See, and every time you close it, it is in the exact same spot, which is very handy. Perfect. So there, it took 3 to get this perfect, and I knew because of how many rows this stamp was that I was going to want to use the Stamparatus. So that is the main point for here, and I will continue to get ready and come back to do the assembly. I am going to do both of the card styles today for the create. Alright, I'm back to do the create. I have showed you the stamping on the silver labels using the Stamparatus, which saves on ruining one of your foiled labels. Alright, so that's the first project done. So these are very pretty. So simple, easy to create. Love it. There you go. And there's this one. And I want to show you before I head off to create the 4 colors that were called out: Blackberry Bliss, Flirty Flamingo, Lemon Lime Twist, and Old Olive. Because these are watercolor, you can see that there's actually more colors called out that they don't mention. I pulled Daffodil Delight, Melon Mambo, and the black that they've added to the centers of the flowers. And that's important because I plan on using these floral stamps to do some design, so I wanted to get some extra colors in place. And these are the colors that I will use to work on the alternatives, and I will be back with my alternatives shortly. Alright, I'm back, and I wanted to share with you the first couple of cards because they are from this particular card base. What I ended up doing was cutting this into 4 different pieces. These 2 sections, the single purple flower and the 3 melon mambo flowers, are both around 2 1/4 square. Then I took the butterfly and made it a separate, right now it's a longer, skinnier piece, and then that flower also, so each has a chunk of white. I haven't done anything with those 2 yet. In fact, they're sitting right here, and I might not do anything with them because I want to move on to seeing what I can do with the other piece. I did do one artistic thing. I took the shimmery white embossing paste, took half of the leftover white vellum, and used it as a stencil. I still have the other half here because I might either stencil with it or cut the corners for use in a project. And here is what it looks like. I've actually cut it into 2 pieces, so it will probably be made into 2, but I haven't quite gone to those yet. I'll probably work on this next, and these 2 pieces won't really go, so these won't be used with the sparkly texture paste project. And then I have 2 cards that are coming along. This one is ready to be put together. It is the largest of the stitched shapes framelits, and it also uses, this thank you is from the set, and then the word friend here is actually from Stitched All Around, and so is this stitched piece. You could just as easily not use Stitched All Around. You could either use just a plain piece of paper or put the thank you directly below with whatever color you have. You don't have to use these colors. It's just what I had picked out. And I did cut out the word friend. It's a little hard to see, but it still uses the piece from the kit, the green vellum, which I really wanted to use in some way. So that's going to finish off this card. Oh, and I also am toying with, these have the faceted dots, has a Blackberry Bliss in the small, medium, and large. And there's black, so either one of those 2 colors. So I have this set here to toy with that. The second piece, which was the 3... Oh, I don't know where it went. Okay, but this is the piece. I went ahead, see how we have the black centers. I used black to write out the word friend, and then I made a background, and it says thinking of you repeated. Then I went ahead and added the colors, and I'm going to use the pink baker's twine as a bow in the white corner. And then I have, for an embellishment, just clear rhinestones, 3 of them. on the flowers. So that'll finish that second card. I'm finding that with how pretty this is, I'm using more pieces and more colors because I'm dressing them up as much as I would like them to, and then I'm just telling you the different options that you could definitely dress down any of these cards to whatever colors you have, and whatever you if you didn't have this die cut, you could just cut a square of any color. This actually is Mossy Meadow. It's a die cut, an embossing folder, the leaves embossing folder, and I already had this just sitting on my table from the last project I did where I didn't use it, so I stuck it on there. But you could use Old Olive and that would work just as well. And I'm going to get back to work on a couple more. Alright, I have finished all of the cards, but before I show you those, I wanted to give you some more ideas, as well as share one of the things I noticed about this green vellum. The green vellum it's colored on one side only, I found out, and you can not really tell against a white background that they're different. I can see that this is a frosted finish, for lack of a better term, and this is more of a shiny finish. So then, if you take it and put it on, say, a green background, that's when you can really tell the difference between the two. So, just something to note. You might be able to stretch these because of the fact that they're different. So, that was one thing. And then I had those two pieces, the rectangular leftover pieces, and I wanted to share just some ideas. You could take this, and then I have a strip in the middle when I cut the card. You have this card that has the butterfly, and then you have the one that has the flowers around the edge with a blank center. This is the center cutout right here. And so my theory is you could take these extra pieces and still make more cards out of them. You could cut this off and make it work with this. You could take your marker, a mini Marvelous marker or any kind of a fine tip marker. This butterfly already looks like it has some handwriting done to it. And so a cute thing that you could do, that I have done many times over the years, is to make it have a flight path. Like that. And then you could, with this other piece that coordinates because it has the yellow flower that also looks hand-drawn, you could connect them. And that would make a really cute, clean and simple card. Just like that. And then I would cut off, I would do something like line it up with the thinking of you and cut that off and then just leave this where it is. So that's one idea of an alternative that I will not be finishing today. Another idea for the other last rectangular piece I had left is to use some of the vellum pieces. Put this pink flower here, and then I even made, with leftover pieces, a cute pink bow. And that would make a really cute card as well. But that isn't what I did with these two green card bases. But now I have some further ideas that I could finish off. I do want to show you the two that I finished. This one is put together now and has the Blackberry Bliss faceted gemstones. The hot pink one I finished exactly as I said with the 3 rhinestones. I added the word friend, and the person might see the ... friend and then not immediately notice that the background is pink on pink. It's Melon Mambo ink on the Melon Mambo paper, but it says thinking of you over and over again in a repeat pattern. And then I have the 2 strips that were on either side with that centerpiece that I told you about here. And here's how I made them. I made them into vertical panels. And then I did the 2 green panels that you've already seen. The Thinking of You here is in Old Olive, and I used the subtle embossing folder. And just for kicks, I left this is the Lemon Lime Twist, and I left it without any texture. So my theory is either one of these works. Doesn't really matter which one. I think they both look nice. And I left the one with the subtle texture in a Clean and Simple, and I thought I would add the Blackberry Bliss. And I believe these are the colors, but you can see that it works either way to make a vertical card. Either one, it doesn't really matter. But for me, I'm just liking this better. You could add the tall sentiments. There was one that says, "You make me happy, you make me so happy," and then there's a sentiment that is basically sympathy for the loss of either a loved one, or it could be any loss that they have a need for a sympathy card for. And I've already put dimensionals on both of these vertical strips. So I will apply them. I think that this set, now what I have left are 3 of each kind of cards that the card with the center open makes 3 pieces, and you could technically even cut this piece and use it for 2 different tasks. And then with the full picture in the center, you get 4 pieces, 2 rectangular ones and 2 square ones, if you separate out the flowers. So that means you've got 12 plus, in my case, these long strips. You have 9. So that's how many more cards that you can make using your own card bases. I don't know how long this pink will last, but this is how much I have left. I've used it on almost all of the cards. I made 5 cards, and I'm going to show you the 5th card here as soon as I finish these 2 that I'm talking about up. I still also have, with the texture paste, the other half, which you'll see in a minute, to do something with for this month. So I still have, it's probably not as many cards as last month's kit with the picnic baskets, but still definitely a lot of volume you can get out of these. Now what I also have used in some cases is the, I'll show you the backs. When I cut these fronts off, you had the whole backside, and I did make use of one of them. Okay, so these are done, and this is what they look like. I showed you the differences in the green vellum. I would probably, like I said, I don't see a good use of rhinestones here, but I see rhinestones could easily fit here. And I have my rhinestones out and available. With the handwriting, I didn't go any further. This one doesn't have as much of what appears to be handwriting, but you could do all sorts of fun doodle things, which I am inclined to be doodling. That's why I showed you the butterfly doodle. But I didn't want to go too much into the doodling side of things, because I know not all people are doodlers. But there's the rhinestones on this one. And I could even, just for fun, on the exclamation, add the rhinestone to the bottom of it. So that takes care of that one. This one I had talked about the Blackberry Bliss faceted stones being interesting. So I'll just add, to emphasize the word you, I'll add the big one. And maybe a small one in here somewhere. I find that if I peel them up very carefully, I kind of don't like the two here to be lined up. They need to be offset somehow. So maybe that. And that will finish this one off. And now I'm going to show you the last one, which actually I spent most of my time on. It definitely was the largest project of them all. I finished its envelope. This is what I would do to decorate these envelopes. And then this is what I made. So this one has the one half of the texture paste, and I still have the other half. And I ended up making this into a pocket for either a gift card or money. Added the rhinestones. This little guy, there were four circles, too small, too large, when you took apart the labels with the silver edging. So that is one of the circles. So those circles definitely can be used. And I added the mini sequins, the mini silver sequins. I did add that. I decorated the inside. So this card and the envelope are pretty much finished and ready to go. And that concludes my alternatives. So let's get them all out together. I actually ended up making 7 cards and then showed partially done 2 others. Let's see if I can even fit them all on the screen. Get my inks out of the way. And I do think that this is a very pretty set. I love the colors. Using the new colors. Love the Blackberry Bliss and the Lemon Lime Twist. I am glad that I had the Daffodil Delight that I could add, as well as the Melon Mambo to give me more colors. Because I will say, Flirty Flamingo is not one of my favorites. I'm really not a pink person. I like the Melon Mambo way better than a soft pink, so I'm glad I had some options. All right, so that is everything that I did. I hope you enjoyed my alternatives this month, and I hope you enjoy your paper pumpkin. Thanks for watching.